Hello everybody and welcome to another top 5 board gaming video. Today's topic is all about the vast majority of the surface of the Earth, the ocean. Now previously I had done a video on nautical games, but this is going to be more about ocean life and oceanography, marine biology, and things along those lines. And so I hope that you enjoy it because you guys know that I love to have a scientific twist to a lot of my top 5s. But that said, as always, I would love to hear what you all have to say. What are your favorite games in the category? How do you feel about games that you learn from in general? But with that, we're going to dive right in with my number 5. At number 5, I've got Abyss, the game that essentially breaks most of the rules that I had just mentioned, wherein this is about fictional ocean life, not actual ocean life. But that said, it's a lot of fun, and it's aesthetically one of the greatest games I've ever seen, particularly the box. Essentially in this game, you've got economics, you've got politics, you've got area control, you've got a lot of great things that you see in a lot of Euro-style games, but it takes place in the ocean. And the thing is that it's meant to be kind of the depths of the ocean, so you have weird kind of looking creatures. Again though, it's fictional, which is why it's so far at the bottom of the list, but still Abyss is a great game and my number 5. At number 4, I've got Reef, the game where you're essentially playing as a coral reef and trying to grow and be beautiful and all of that sort of thing. This is a nice game in that it brings somewhat to the forefront the idea of reef conservation, but not a huge amount. In addition, it doesn't have a whole lot of biology behind it, but the fact is that it does show how coral reefs grow, where they grow side to side on top of one another, and essentially however they want. It's a really interesting game in terms of just how it progresses. And on top of that, I happen to love viewing corals and just watching them and all of that sort of thing. So Reef, all in all, a relatively simplistic game, easy to play, but fun to play, and my number 4. At number 3, I've got Oceans. This is a game in the exact same vein as Evolution in that it takes the idea of ocean life and evolution as a whole and abstracts it to a board game. It is a wonderfully well done game, and it does change the evolution mechanics enough such that it feels different. In this case, you still have the idea of an individual species that you populate with traits, and you have population numbers, in this case represented by physical little fishies. And the idea is that you're trying to feed enough and gain enough points and all of that sort of thing. In this particular case, the trait cards that you have, at least for the surface, are things that have been discovered by science and seen by science, and so that's wonderful to see. That said, this also has the deep cards, as they say, and these are more unusual, abstract, not arbitrary, but things that haven't necessarily been seen by science, but are either predicted to have been or maybe potentially could be there at some point. Of course, this is in the middle of the list because while it does have marine biology associated with it, it is in such an abstract way that I was just like kind of meh. I love it. It's a wonderful game. It's absolutely gorgeous still. Oceans, all in all, my number 3. At number 2, I've got Deep Vents. This is a unique tile placement drafting game that takes place in the, as the name implies, hydrothermal vents at the bottom of the ocean. Essentially, this is where extremophiles such as archaea as well as some bacteria live and make and reproduce and do all of this kind of stuff. In the particular game, the idea is that you're drafting tiles by paying archaea, and then you have predators that allow you to go and kind of attack your nearby opponents in order to try and earn victory points. This is great because it really does dive a little bit deeper into the marine biology of hydrothermal vents and what goes on in them, because this is something that a lot of people don't really know that much about. Now that said, the game itself is not super complex, but it's really wonderfully fun. It has some nice Euro-style mechanics to it with tile placement and drafting, a little bit of take that type of things, and at the same time, it's fairly simplistic, easy to play, easy to learn, and all of that good stuff. So, as far as a scientific game, it's pretty solid. As far as a game itself, also pretty solid. So, Deep Vents, my number 2. At number 1, I've got Open Ocean. This is a relatively unique game in that it has a formal story behind it, but no narration actually. The idea is that you are a marine biologist going out to study underwater creatures, and a typhoon hit the reef you were going to, and now you have to try and repopulate it. Essentially, you have a card drafting and placement mechanic where you are trying to get corals and fish back into the reef. You also have open ocean cards that you can take from, you can steal from your opponents, and several other things along those lines. It's a very quick and easy game to play, very similar to Seven Wonders, and it's a lot of fun, and it teaches a little bit about marine biology in the context of this is how some marine biologists work. They are trying to repopulate reefs, they are trying to make artificial reefs, and all of that kind of stuff. I find that this is the closest to life example of what we can do as far as marine biology. It's a wonderful game, it's really fun, like I said, very fast and easy to play. Open Ocean, my number 1. Well everybody, that's going to be it for me. I hope that you enjoyed this video on my top 5 favorite games that are about ocean life and marine biology and that sort of thing. Now granted, some of them being a little bit abstract, not super scientific, is okay because that's what board games are, is an abstraction of reality. But that said, of course, as always, I want to hear what you all have to say. What are your favorite games in the category? What do you think of games doing something that's a little bit more hard scientific and all of that sort of thing? You know I love to talk about them, and you know I love to hear about them. Please put anything and everything in the comments below. And of course, as always, if you haven't done so already, please take a look at my various social media pages where you can interact with myself and my channel in a whole bunch of fun ways. But that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Oh, and by the way, for those of you wondering, I know the axolotl is a freshwater salamander. It has nothing to do with the ocean, but the shirt is just too adorable. I couldn't help myself. So, okay, that's it. Bye. See you next time.